Welcome to The Explainer. One of the biggest questions we ever face is, who's the right person to spend our life with? Today, we're going to look at a really interesting tool that helps you figure that out. It's called the Bandhan Pre-Marriage Assessment, and it's all about self-discovery before you make that huge decision. So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into the big idea behind the whole thing. Then, we'll break down the two main parts of the assessment, what drives you on the inside, and how you communicate on the outside. After that, I'll walk you through how you actually take the test, and we'll finish up by looking at what you'll learn from it all. Sound good? Let's dive in. Okay, so first things first. The whole assessment is built on this one really powerful idea about what success actually is. And we're not just talking about your job here. This applies to your relationships too. And this is it, right here. True success. That feeling of real fulfillment. It happens at that sweet spot where what you're good at overlaps with what you absolutely love to do. Think about it. That's not just some advice for your career, right? It's literally the blueprint for a happy, solid partnership. So, this isn't just a theory. This idea is being put into practice by a man named Dr. Atul B. Patil over at IKSC Knowledge Bridge. He and his team are doing some really cool work with programs like Swayam Yog, which is all about pre-marriage preparation. They're using this very assessment to help young people really get to know themselves before they start looking for that perfect life partner. Okay, so if you want to find that magic intersection for yourself, you've got to start with a big question. What really motivates you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? And that's exactly what the first part of this assessment is designed to figure out. It's called the Purpose Readiness Index, or PRI for short. Now, what it does is pretty fascinating. It looks at 7 core motivations that, all of us have. Things like wanting to achieve practical goals, or seeking knowledge, or creating beauty, or helping people. The assessment makes you rank them, which forces you to see what really sits at the top of your list. Basically, this part of the test is all about uncovering your personal why. It's like getting a detailed map of your own inner world. And that's so important because it helps you figure out what you genuinely need in a partner, which can be totally different from what you just think you want. All right, so knowing your why is one half of the puzzle. The other half is figuring out your how. How do you actually express all that stuff to the world? How do you communicate? That brings us to the second part of the assessment. This one's called the Relationship Readiness Index, or RRI. Now, you might have heard of the DISC model it's based on. It's a super well-known framework for understanding people's behavior. The RRI zooms in on your outward style, how you naturally prefer to talk, listen, and just generally interact with other people. So, what does it actually measure? Well, it breaks down your style into 4 key areas. You've got how assertive and results-oriented you are. Then there's how outgoing and persuasive you tend to be. Next up is how patient and supportive you are. And finally, how compliant or detail-oriented you are, your preference for getting things right. So here's the best way to think about it. The PRI, that first part, tells you your internal why, what's going on deep inside. But the RRI, this second part, shows your external how, the way you act that everyone else sees. And if you really want to know yourself and find someone who gets you, you absolutely need to understand both sides of that coin. Okay, so you get the why and the what of this thing. Now for the easy part. Let's walk through how you actually take it. It's super straightforward. First up, just find a quiet spot and set aside maybe 40 minutes to an hour. The best part? There's no ticking clock, so you can really take your time, think about your answers, and not feel rushed at all. Getting in is a piece of cake. Dr. Patel's team at IKCSD Knowledge Bridge will shoot you an email with a link. You just click that, pop in your info, and bam, your username and password land right in your inbox. So, you're logged in. What happens next? Well, the whole setup is really clean and easy to use. But I'll tell you right now, it's not your standard pick A, B, or C kind of test. This is the cool part. Instead of just picking one answer, you get a bunch of statements. And all you have to do is click and drag them into an order that feels right for you. The one that's most like you goes at the top, and the one that's least like you goes at the very bottom. But wait, there's a really interesting twist here. For every single set of statements, you do that ranking process 2 times. First, you rank them for yourself. Then, you take that exact same list and rank it again, but this time for what you'd want in your ideal partner. Super insightful, right? Now, this is super important. The only way this whole thing works is if you're 100% honest. Nobody's going to see your specific answers. It's all confidential. And look, there are no wrong answers here. It's just about what's true for you. This is your journey of self-discovery. And that's basically the whole process for both parts of the assessment. You just go through the groups of statements, do the drag and drop ranking for yourself, then for your ideal partner, and move to the next. When you're all done with the last one, a submit button will pop up, and you're good to go. The only tiny difference between the two tests is how many things you have to rank. For the PRI, that's the one about your inner drivers, you'll be ranking 7 statements at a time. For the RRI, the one about your communication style, it's just 4. Okay, so you've put in the time, you've been honest, and you've hit submit. So what happens now? What's the big reward? Let's talk about the incredible insights you're going to get from this. What you get back is basically a personalized roadmap to, well, you. It's going to spell out what you truly value, deep down. It'll show you how you naturally communicate, and it will shine a light on what kind of people you're genuinely drawn to. All of this gives you the power and the clarity to make one of life's biggest decisions with real confidence. And at the end of the day, that's the whole point. It's about replacing guesswork with actual self-knowledge. This tool helps you stop just hoping you'll find the right person and start actively understanding what to look for. It's about finding someone who doesn't just love you, but who truly gets you. So the real question is, are you ready to find out who you really are so you can find them?